You guys remember way back in the 15 tips video when I made the claim that I felt like Silksong was going to be releasing very, very soon? And then Silksong didn't come out. No, of course I don't remember that. That didn't even happen. The fuck did you think I was referencing? Anyways, if you have a PS Plus membership, you're apparently getting the game free this month. So to these journey seekers, I humbly and cordially invite you to what will likely be your next new obsession. I figured now would be as good a time as any to brush over some of the lessons I learned in combat, and also extend a layer or two deeper on some of the tips from the previous video that a lot of people are finding for some reason. Sure hope that's aged well. Additionally, please try to keep in mind that these tips are extremely specific and should certainly not be interpreted as tried and true or all-encompassing advice. None of the tips in this video are really correct or guaranteed to help you out, but I wanted to take the time and really break down how I handle certain things in the game to give newcomers a more nuanced and practical perspective on how they can also play. These tips will be geared towards people that have completed the game, hence the spoiler warning, but haven't done much else outside of that and are looking to get more out of their experience. Okay, fuck that. Let's get started. Is anyone else here not good at math? I feel like I am to some degree, but like, you know, once people started bringing in letters and derivatives and fucking... So anyways, numbers. Know your numbers. Specifically knowing the effectiveness of your nail, your spells, and the health of some of the standard enemies. If you're good with numbers and you want to really understand exactly how much damage your abilities are doing and how much is needed to kill certain enemies, keeping the right numbers at the forefront of your head can actually help quite a bit. Okay, so here's how this works. Your base nail damage is 5 per hit, and each upgrade you obtain from the nailsmith increases the power of your nail by increments of 4, meaning your repaired nail is 9, the channeled nail is 13, and so forth. Additionally, the base damage of your vengeful spirit is 15 and increases to 20 with Shaman Stone equipped. So, keeping this in mind, you can apply this knowledge to how you kill enemies in the game. One hit with a blunted nail followed by a vengeful spirit totals out to 20 damage, which is enough to kill all of these enemies here. Now, okay, so let's say you've equipped Shaman Stone to boost your spell damage, giving your vengeful spirit a damage count of 20, so this little combo I mentioned earlier now outputs 25 points of damage, which is enough to kill standard enemies in the peak, like the miners and the crystal hunters. There's obviously no end to the examples I can give here, but if you're curious about the HP of all the enemies in Hallownest, I've linked a little compendium of all the game's enemies, your abilities, and their respective stats in a pinned comment here in this video, so feel free to take a look at that. Okay, so next up is dodging. How to dodge attacks, confusing enemy moves, just weird little hacks and such that will help you play the game better and stuff. It took me a good few playthroughs to realize that these soul projectiles here thrown at you by enemies like the Soul Warriors and the Radiants can be neutralized pretty easily. Once you've upgraded to your Shade Cloak ability, you can dash through them, which cancels them out and prevents them from circling back around to you. There are also abilities like Desolate Dive that gives you a pretty generous window of invincibility, and I do mean generous. Against the Traitor Lord, your Shade Cloak should recharge at the exact same rate in which he attacks, so if you have Sharp Shadow equipped, you can just dash through him whenever he dashes towards you, and be dealing a bit of damage in the process. It does take a bit of practice though to time the recharges correctly. If you want to fight the Brooding Moloch super early, you can create a little healing window by waiting until the end of the Moloch's first pounce right here, and he will always return to the center of the arena on the second pounce. So if you're on one of the sides, you'll have more than enough time to pop a quick heal if you start healing as soon as the Brooding Moloch touches ground. Again, I could list off multiple examples of smart ability usage and conservation, lots of which I will have reiterated from content in the past, but for the sake of brevity, I'll spare you all that repetition. The TLDR of it is, it's always good to be using abilities when you have them, but sometimes dodging an attack really is as simple as just stepping out of the way. Once you acquire the Dream Nail, the game diverges into a crossroads where you can either go after the three Dreamers or hunt down the Warrior Graves and Whispering Roots and upgrade the Dream Nail to where you're able to access the White Palace, one of Hollow Knight's endgame areas. But the Dream Nail can be used for more than just accessing new lore from NPCs or chasing down dream bosses. The Dream Nail can actually be used as a means of farming soul essence from enemies. A single strike with the Dream Nail doesn't do damage to an enemy, but it can replenish exactly 33 counts of soul, which equals out to 1 heal or spell ability. And with Dream Wielder equipped, not only is your wind-up time significantly decreased, but a successful strike will replenish 66 soul essence or 2 spells as opposed to the original 33. It can be used to push back larger enemies, but it's best to use this ability on enemies with slower and more predictable movesets. Slower bosses like Umu or Flukemarm are highly susceptible to this, and bosses like the Watcher Knights, Failed Champion, Dung Defender, or pretty much any other boss with a habit of standing still for more than a split second can also be caught with this pretty easily. This next one is less of a combat tip and more to do with navigation. Hollow Knight rewards those who are proficient in the art of sequence breaking, discovering new areas, and bypassing events in really creative ways. And since I'm still aiming this video towards relatively newer players, any talk you've heard about any sort of fireball skip or you can just ignore that. That's a little too technical. I've been playing this game for almost 1,000 hours cumulatively, and I can't even do that shit. It's hopeless. I can't do it. For now, we can limit sequence breaking to pogoing and crystal dashing, since it's easiest to do with these two abilities. Getting to the Watcher Knight's battle or to the Pale Ore located at the Crown of the Kingdom does not actually require the double jump ability you get from the Monarch Wings. This is because downstriking on some of the area's surroundings can give you an extra height boost. Downstrike on something to start, dash towards a wall or surface that's near you, and then kick off of it using Mantis Claw. And there you go. Congratulations, you just hacked the game. Moreover, you can use Crystal Dash to dash across pools of acid without the need to get Isma's Tear, although this one demands a little more precision, but I do encourage you to practice it nonetheless. Working with the right charms is a bit more layered than just making a nail build or making a spell build. I do tend to lean more towards spell builds myself, but the common player will usually have a playstyle that's much more than just all melee or all spells all the time. Yeah, sure, it's a little simpler taking your 11 charm notches and loading yourself out with all the nail-related charms your heart desires, and shit, even then you'll probably be more than equipped for whatever you're going up against, but for some encounters you can kind of afford to be that straightforward. And for some, you can't. The purpose of the charm system is to accentuate your playstyle, not for you to accentuate them, if that makes sense. If you really like being up close and personal, but you're not good at dodging shit, think of a build that combines survivability with melee attacking. Soul Catcher and Soul Eater stack really well together, giving you 2/3 of a spell per strike, Quick Slash for more frequent attacks, and Long Nail for that little extra reach, for convenience's sake. You're still very clearly focusing on your nail here, but also making sure you're never at a loss for soul essence if you need to heal. If you want your main damage output to come from spells, but you still don't want to be completely helpless with your nail, I've always had a strong preference for the Pride Shaman Soul Eater combo. You get all the spell power in the world from Shaman Stone while still being able to keep things at bay with a massive range boost to your nail. Part of the fun is just figuring out what builds you can make by yourself and how outside of the box you can think with shit, so don't be afraid to do that. I wasn't aiming for this video to be a double feature release or some shit. I didn't want this to be super long or anything too comprehensive. If anything, I feel like my videos are starting to become a little on the long-winded side. So since I know a lot of players are just digging this game up from the PS Plus freebies, I figured I'd make a little something for those of you who have already blasted your way through the game, but are also clearing a second run, and I don't know, maybe you just can't get enough of the game and you want to find ways to get better. I don't have an outro for this. Yeah, see ya.